Hi, it's Bishop Mark, and today is Luke chapter 11, verses 37 to 44. And he's back talking to the Pharisees. So once again, we know that he went on a journey with his disciples, and then he headed back to Jerusalem. And the last location we have in Luke's gospel is that he was in Bethany, which we know is on the other side of the Mount of Olives. So it's very near Jerusalem. And guess who's back in his life? And that is the Pharisees. Now he's dealt with the Pharisees and the scribes this whole time. They just are not believers. He's been calling them out lately. Yeah. And now he gets invited to a Pharisee's house for dinner. Remember the last time that he got invited to a Pharisee's house? They were reclined at dinner, and in comes the woman who washed his feet with the oil and her tears. Okay, well, here's another dinner with the Pharisees, and Jesus does not follow what they want him to follow. We'll talk about it. Here we go. After he had spoken, a Pharisee invited him to dine at his home. He entered and reclined at table to eat. The Pharisee was amazed to see that he did not observe a prescribed washing before the meal. Okay, so Jesus is always willing to speak with anyone, and he's absolutely going to take that invitation to the Pharisee's house to dinner, so he can continue to teach and try to save the souls of the Pharisees. The Pharisees don't know they're sick. Jesus has to point out their illness. What is their illness? Their illness is that they don't know they're sick. They do everything for show. So here's what happens when you go to a Pharisee's house to eat dinner. You have to do the washing of the hands. Okay. This is not like when we go to dinner and we wash our hands before we eat. That's not what happens here. What they do is they have to wash their hands such that the water is put on the fingertips and goes down the hand, right? And then the water has to be put on the wrist. It goes down the hand. And there is these ways that you do it that is like a ritual. Do you know what the word ritual means? It means a set of actions that you must do. So what's the ritual before a baseball game? You watch them line up, and then you sing the national anthem, right? And maybe you sing, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And then they say, "Play ball," and you win. That's a set of things that happens before every baseball game. And a ritual is something you do. Now, the problem with the Pharisees, they do all the ritual washings, which is great. You know, why not? Who cares? But the ritual means more to them than the actual being good. In fact, they think if they follow all these little rules, like the washings, then they can really do whatever they want. They don't have to fix the inside if the outside is okay. And this is why Jesus thinks that they are not right, that they're, what the word we use is hypocrites. They're different on the outside than the inside. Now, all of us can be hypocrites too. And Jesus does not want us to be hypocrites, just like he doesn't want the Pharisees to be hypocrites. Say, for example, you're young and your parents tell you, do not do something. And then you do it anyway. But when they're looking at you, you're not doing it. So say it's okay, you've had enough video games, and so stop playing video games. Okay, I'll stop. But then you continue to play when their back is turned, but then you close it down and you say, oh, like open a book or something, and you say, I'm not playing video games. Well, you're playing video games underneath. You're being disobedient, but you look great. You look like you're very obedient. Now that's probably something every kid does. And, we need to fix that as we're adults so that we're consistent with what we say we are. And that on the inside we're good and on the outside we're good. But with these Pharisees, Jesus was warning them that you're great on the outside, but what's inside? Huh? What's inside? Okay, let's continue to read. I've given you a lot to understand before we read it. The Lord said to him, so he said, how come you don't do the prescribed washing? The Lord said to him, oh, you Pharisees, although you cleanse the outside of the cup and the dish, inside you are filled with plunder and evil. You fools, did not the maker of the outside also make the inside? But as to what is within, give alms, and behold, everything will be clean for you. So Jesus is talking about the outside and the inside. They both must be clean. They both must be good. You can't just do things for show and not be a good person. And how do you be a good person? He says, give alms. That's one place to start. What's alms? The word is A-L-M-S, alms. That means give to the poor, the less fortunate, give to others. That will make you clean on the inside. But these Pharisees are not giving, except they do give when their church tells them to. They pay all their taxes to the church, every one of them. But are they giving to the poor, or are they just doing it so that they'll look good in the eyes of the church? That's the next part. Let's show you that. Woe to you, Pharisees! You pay tithes of mint and of rue and of every garden herb, but you pay no attention to the judgment and to love for God. These you should have done without overlooking the others. Okay, that paying tithes is a specific way of paying taxes to the church. So there is the word tithe, T-I-T-H-E, comes from 10%. So people give 10% of their income and of their wealth to the church if they're tithing. Most people don't tithe. Yeah, people are very generous to the church, but most people don't tithe. And the ones that do, well, it's a blessing to the church and to them. But it's not easy to do, especially if you have a family. But we should be generous to the church and to the poor. But they're only generous to the church. Now, when he says of mint and rue, he's talking about specific taxes that the Jewish people have of giving the first of their products. So when they grow something in their garden, the first fruits go to the church. And they do that. They do it great. So the first, if you modern day garden, the first tomato would not be for you, it'd be for the church. That's what they were expected to do, and they were doing that fine. But were they loving their neighbor, or are they just trying to look good? Jesus says some of them are just trying to look good. That's it. It's all for show. Okay, let's continue. Woe to you, Pharisees! You love the seats of honor in synagogues and greetings in marketplaces. So in synagogues, remember there's the temple in Jerusalem and the local ones are the synagogues. In the synagogues, it's faced so that there are some seats that face the congregation and some seats that face the altar or the area, the big. So there are some people facing the crowd, and then there's a crowd facing the people, and those seats of honor are the ones facing the crowd. So you love to be seen, love to be up there with all your stuff. Like I'm wearing stuff today. I'm wearing stuff today because I'm celebrating a mass here in my parish in my room because I have COVID. And so I'm celebrating mass. I'm wearing this. This is why I'm wearing it. But to wear it, it's like, oh, look at this. And look at me. It's not what we're about. We're about God. We're about others. And Jesus thinks they're all about themselves. So they love the seats where everyone can see them. That's nothing, says Jesus. And the last part of it, woe to you, you are like unseen graves of which you people unknowingly walk. If a Jewish person touches a grave, that means they're unclean. Just a grave, not a dead body, just a grave. They're unclean for 7 days, right? But if they don't know it, they're still unclean. They just don't know they're unclean. So what if they're walking over a grave? Well, then they're unclean. They just don't know it. So the grave is under them. They have no idea. That's what Jesus is saying. You have no idea you're unclean. I'm telling you. So woe to you. You need to reform. You need to do things for God and for others, not for yourself and for show. That's what this reading's all about, and I hope you and I could be consistent too, that we're not doing things for show, that we're doing things for God and for others. We'll see you next time. Peace.